Do you read me?
Be advised, you are coming in weak and unreadable.
Say again, Com Tower. This is Pacho. Do you read me?
Pacho, this is Com Tower. I read you Lima Charlie.
Com Tower. Request permission to launch and commence the field op. Over.
Stand by. Pacho, permission granted. I say again, permission granted.
Roger that. Launching podcast in 3, 2. You are now entering the field op with your host, Pacho Correa, Chief Warrant Officer 3, United States Marine Corps retired. Get some. Hurrah! What's going on, everybody? Hey, another week is upon us. Baby Friday is here. Friday night's Eve, but goddamn, is almost the weekend. Hey, this show, we're kind of mobile for the next couple of weeks. Had a little bit of it isn't a situation. It's just that my daughter happened to have surgery, so I'm here taking care of her over the next couple of weeks, doing the dad thing. Although she's been way too mobile, more for my own good taste, but nonetheless, let's do the do. So let's get all the pleasantries out of the way. So as you know, this show is brought to you by the great folks of the VA. And at the VA, the system is not perfect. However, it is the only one we have, and you have a lot of good benefits, and the system is getting better. There's a lot of good things coming down the pipeline as far as benefiting veterans. So let's see what it has in store over the next couple of months. I know we're going through some changes, but nonetheless, keep submitting your claims because these are there for you and to help you at the end of the day. So if you need help with your claims and how to navigate the process, you can reach out right here to us at the show. And we'll get you all pointed in the right direction. And I will give you a free 1 hour strategy. Actually, it's not even free. I mean, I'll give you a free hour strategy session of my time to make sure that you're good to go and taken care of. All right. Also, if you want to take yourself, when was the last time that, have you ever thought about, hey, where am I financially? Where do I stand? Am I on target to retire? Because retirement is actually not an age. It is a financial figure. And if you want to find out what your financial independence number is, as well as see how to get rid of all your debt, including paying off your home for free, then, hey, reach out to the Money Pro. At the Money Pro, what we do is we help folks out, figure out the financial independence number and where they could be financially down the road, whether it is, if you need to roll over or do something with your 3 savings plan where you can still contribute to it, or an old 401k that's still lagging somewhere else and you're not able to contribute to it. You want to keep having choices in how to control your own money. Then just go to meetthemoneypro.com, watch the video, and then up on the upper right-hand corner of there's the calendar. Give yourself a calendar. And what we'll do is we'll give you a free 1 hour strategy session, and we'll give you some free specific strategies and techniques that'll take yourself and your financial future to the next level. So go ahead and reach out. That's meetthemoneypro.com, and get yourself there, and we'll get you going. If the show is also all about the freedom of speech, the right to bear arms. So if you like the information that you hear, or there's something specifically that you want us to do a show on, by all means, go ahead and reach out. So and let us know, because we'll be more than we'll do our best to oblige, and because if it's important to you, it might be important to the rest of the community. So go ahead and check us out. All right, and so again, if you support the show, if you support the right to bear arms, freedom of speech, all that good stuff in the Constitution, and like, subscribe, and follow, make sure you help me the analytics on my YouTube show as well, because we just want to. I want to be able to keep growing this platform. All right. And if you want to be a guest on the show, you got something that if you're helping veterans, or you got something that a product or something, or your company, hey, I'll be more than glad to get you on the show today. So, and if not, hey, support Sitchradio.com. There are also some great folks out here. And if you want to have your own podcast, give Brian Coburn a shout out. All right. So that's pretty much all the pleasantries out of the way. So here, you all know that here at the field, we empower veterans to take charge of their lives both in and out of uniform. Today's show, we're going to dive into a little bit on a very critical topic, which hits me very near and dear to my heart. Knowing your worth in the workplace, how to recognize discrimination, and basically standing up for yourself and the right way, not the knife hand way, as we say. So, many years, not many years ago, last year, as you all know, I took a leap of faith and I went for business for myself once again. I had done it, back in 2018, and but one that led to my basically, I it wasn't the leap of faith, but I wasn't worked. I think I would have just wrote out that paycheck for as long as I could have, since I was doing. I've always been an entrepreneur, doing things differently. So, but my treatment in the workplace wasn't the best, and you as a veteran should never tolerate. So, because let's face it. I mean, when we were after many years of embracing the suck, a lot of us don't even realize we're being undervalued or disrespected at all. So it's time to change that. When you leave while you're in the service, yeah, we embrace certain things, or like, okay, I'm getting yelled at by staff sergeant or whatever, or Gunny's flipping a desk over. But that stuff is not actually, it's not okay in the in the workplace, in a normal environment, right? So let's talk a little bit about why veterans struggle in the workplace, as civilians, because we come from an environment where we have to adapt and overcome, but in the real world, that can sometimes lead us to accept things that we shouldn't accept. Things like, uh, you know, things like an employer putting their hands on you, that whether they're male or female as well, because males do get sexually harassed. In my workplace, in two, since I've been retired, I've worked in several places, and in two of them, I had female coworkers actually. One of them was talking very inappropriate to me, and they were even putting, when people, that whole, remember when you were at boot camp and drill instructors like one arm distance, don't you put your hands on me, or don't violate my space. I mean, that's the, in the real world, that shit is very real. Imagine yourself, if a male puts a hand on a female, as in like touch their shoulder or something like that, I mean, you will for sure find yourself in HR. Hey, like, that's not inappropriate or whatever. But it has to be a two-way street, because I mean, those things happen. So much so that I told that coworker, I was like, hey, don't you ever put your hands on me ever again, or or I'm gonna have to go to HR. I mean, I also documented all that stuff as well. So, and then in my last workplace, my supervisor, I mean, this individual, she was putting her hands my shoulder, and that made me very uncomfortable, because the simple fact that we did not have that type of relationship. It was very clear from the beginning that I was not welcome to that job place, even though the recruiters hounded me to leave my previous job and to come and work for them. So you don't allow those things to happen, okay? Because in the service, if your boss, yeah, like I mentioned earlier, you do push-up, burpees, whatever the case, but that was called. But in the real world, that would be an HR issue. So why do veterans get taken advantage of? Obviously, because we don't know. We really don't know our employee rights, because we came from an environment where, whether we did 3 years, whatever, you know, it doesn't really matter. You know what I'm saying? So we have to be very cognizant of the simple fact that we got to know, where we came from, and because of the system that we came from, being the service, um, you know overly, things were encouraged, like getting yelled at or whatever the case. Um, and then sometimes even employers assume like, okay, well, this guy, they'll accept, they have to do whatever it is that I'm telling them. And that was not the case. Again, even, in at my previous company, I finally wised up to things. I'm like, wait a minute, I am an employee. I do have rights. I do have, I can go talk to an advocate or a case. And by the way, HR, at as much as we may think they're there for us as an advocate. I mean, essentially, they're there to protect the company, period. So make sure that you document everything and know when you start seeing the signs. If your boss is gaslighting you, giving you mundane projects, or overly questioning your work. Now, if you're half-assing it on purpose, and also, I mean, some things may be warranted, but if you feel like, hey, this shit ain't right, then you want to document all that stuff and make sure that you are making sure that that you start advocating for yourself and get all that stuff documented. Save all the emails, save all that stuff, because again, you don't want to be put in a situation where your rights are being taken advantage of, if that makes sense. Okay. I think I might be having technical issues right now with my podcast here. So I know it keeps clicking in and out. So hopefully, folks, who this stuff doesn't really keep freezing over. So again, what in this part of the podcast, just make sure that you start learning your rights. That, hey, if you feel like you're being disrespected or your boss is kind of taking advantage of you, start keep emails. Document your conversations, time, date, place. You know the deal from when you're in the service, that, hey, in this time and date I was talked to this way, blah blah blah. Same stuff, just like you were in the service. You got to recognize when it's time to take action, and recognizing the red flags. Um, signs that you're being taken care of, or being taken advantage of, is unrealistic expectations, or about your background, or excessive workloads, unpaid extra times, or you're overly being scrutinized. I mean, they know that you get the stuff done, but sometimes, like it was in my case, and it was plainly obvious that I was more. And again, I'm not saying I'm the shit or whatever the case. I'm just saying that I was more qualified. I made a name for myself in the industry in a good way, where I was. Uh, how can I put it? I was. I had a lot. I have a lot of the certifications. I have a huge following on social media, especially on LinkedIn, for safety items. So we have to be able to advocate for ourselves, and making sure that um, all these things are making sure that we are doing that we're being taken care of. Does that make sense, everybody? So you have to make sure that you got to advocate for you got to be your own advocate. Okay. Lack of promotion opportunities, hostile work environments. Again, those are all things that I lived. I mean, in my after my first year, I mean, I had implemented programs, uh, developed a bunch of safety things. I taught several safety OSHA classes. At this place, I ended up receiving, it was a 2% pay raise. And this individual, and then this individual had the gall to tell me, that uh, I need to step it up. And I was like, wait a minute, there was all these things that before I got here were non-existent. So how do you know your rights, and how to fight back the right way? Well, let me tell you how some of those things can work. You know, well, there are ways that there are laws that protect veterans in the workplace. The Uniform Service Employment and Reemployment Rights Act, USERRA, is one of them. Okay, that is one way that we can protect ourselves. Um, in let's see what let's see what Joyce has to say. She was when I was 16, I started taking vacation. Even with the medicine, I have some process treatment. Okay, this is bullshit right here. So somebody must have. Am I certain I have been used? Okay. Well, anyways, so the American Disability ADA for service connected conditions. So again, if you got to go see the doctor, PTSD, all those different things. So make sure that you're letting them know, hey, I have these doctor's appointments. You can also file for FMLA. I think it's a Family Medical Leave Act. So at the beginning of each year, I would fill out an FMLA for my medical, for my PTSD and stuff. That means that if you need to do certain things to, like go to the doctor, go see, your counseling, whatever, all those things, FMLA will cover you without impacting your pay time off or your sick time. Okay. And the Equal Opportunity EEO, protection against discrimination. So, these are things that you can advocate for yourself and make sure that you got to know your rights. So always have HR involved. If you feel like you're being gaslighted or say, or they're questioning all that stuff, you don't have to bring a doctor's notice. That is against HIPAA violations, or what type of treatment. It helps tell your doctor, hey, I need a doctor's note to make sure that uh, all that stuff is in the system. Like basically, hey, so and so is sick. They need how many days off. So get all that stuff off, or that they were here. But you want to document, as Dan just said. So things that just because you're tough enough to take it doesn't mean that you really have to. I mean, that whole thing doesn't work. So here's some things that you can document if you feel like you're being obviously you want to document, like Dan said, emails, conversations, job expectations. Make sure that you get just like you were in the service, you were given a job description in that talk with your OIC, your platoon sergeant, and all those folks. Same thing in the civilian world. You need to get that, because that will tell them, that outlines basically the good, what's the expectation for this job. If you don't get that, request that, and then you sign it, because you can always, it works two ways. They can hold that against you, and you can hold that against them, because anything outside of that shit in the civilian, in the civilian world, you can, hey, not my job, right? File formal complaints through HR. And again, that I highly recommend. And then if they have an ethics department, get ethics involved as well. You want to make sure that all these things are in the system, because if it ain't on paper, it never happened. Luckily at that, Raytheon, Collins, Pratt Whitney, they all have those sections. Get them involved. Have those people earn their keep, because they're there for you as well. Because no company wants a lawsuit, and if you need to take legal action through, the EEOC or the Department of Labor, make that happen. Don't be afraid of doing that. A lot of people are afraid. Like when I took FMLA, they're like, "Oh, why did you do that?" I was like, "One, it's my right as somebody who has a medical condition. I need to take advantage of that. Again, I don't want it to impact my hours, so I took advantage of that. If you have a service dog, get that service dog to go with you to work. Okay, I did that with my dog, and I had a medical letter and everything from my doctor, and my service dog went with me to work. You can see my photos of my service dog, and or Taps. You guys have seen it right here on the show. Taps has been to work. He used to go to work with me all the time. He used to help me. Man, it was such a relief to have him there. because man, there were so many times, and his purpose is to obviously keep me sane and shit. Um, and it really helped a lot because again, I was in a really toxic work environment. Um, so just think of it like an op order, gather intelligence, make a plan, execute with precision. Again, SMEAC, situation, mission, execution, admin, and commanding signal. So all that good stuff, right? That's right. And just like Dan said, HR is there to protect the company. They're not, 100%. They're not your, they're not your friend. All right, folks. So, so here's some lessons learned that I did, that obviously from my own experience, and things that you can apply. So you got to know your worth, and that is non-negotiable. Okay. uh, we bring a lot of amazing good things to the work environment. We bring leadership, we bring discipline, we are problem solvers, we're mission oriented. Hey, it's all about the mission. It's all about making, I mean, that's more worth than we often, give ourselves credit for. And if you were a water walker, in the service, whether you were there 4 years, 8, 10, or retiree, I mean, especially, again, nothing against my first, second, third term is, but I mean, even if you did 20 plus years, or you almost retired and you got out because of whatever reason, I mean, shit, you put up with a lot of crap in the service. I mean, that sets you apart from your civilian counterparts. So make sure that you're giving yourself credit where credit is due. Okay. And just because you can handle the suck or the bad situation doesn't really mean that you should. I used to say that, in the safety industry, especially in construction, is like, oh, breathing cement, dust, or or excessive noise or whatever, that's part of the job. Losing my hearing or breathing issues, no, it really isn't, folks. So same thing, an environment where it's not conducive to you, where you're having anxiety, having to go to work, and you're just dreading the day. I get it. Some days we have bad days in the sense that it sucks. But if you just dread your, having to interact with your manager, or um, the, somebody at work, or somebody that's above you in the sense of, in charge of you or whatever, they're like in a commanding position. You don't got to take that shit from them. Okay. You're a civilian now. So you can, you got to make a note. So know your rights, know your value, and don't ever let someone take advantage of your dedication. Cause there are a lot of motherfuckers out there that, will take advantage of that. I mean, Dan and I have worked together on not only did we work together in the Marine Corps, but we're also out of the Marine Corps. We ended up working together, and he was a shout out to Dan. He was an amazing leader, an amazing manager where we worked. But even his, even he got a raw deal out of, and we both used to, and I was like, man. And when I moved on to my other place, I'm like, dude, does this shit sound right to you? And he's like, nope. And you need to do this, you need to do that. And he himself, found himself in a pretty, really crappy situation. So set yourself up for success and know you're right. You don't have to you don't got to take that crap from anybody. I mean, so get all those things involved. I mean, I even thought about calling OSHA at my site because of and a lot of companies think that just because they have their own safety departments or sections, that, oh yeah, because of this we can waiver all these other shit. Or no, the law is the law. Whether it's treatment of employees, safety, whatever the case, you know you don't have to take a toxic situation for what it is. Okay, so make sure that um, you know that if you have questions, or you've been struggling in the workplace with issues, seek out the resources. You can, you can always reach out to us here at the show. I mean, we speak from experience. So and talk to somebody, a mentor. But even your therapist at the VA, or whoever it is that you're seeking guidance from for other issues, if you find yourself talking about your work and that you get anxiety and and it's exacerbating your PTSD, and that is a recurring theme with your therapist, that's an issue. So and you wanna be able to be, how can I put it? You want to be able to you know how to advocate for yourself, or you need or you have questions. You can actually reach out to the show, and I'll be more than glad to walk you through all those things. So I'm just kind of looking over my show notes because I thought this was really important. As a matter of fact, if you want to see, so what I did after I quit, after I was getting ready to quit, I finally said, you know what, I'm pretty much done. I wrote a 3-page letter in a very, very tactful manner, and but I copied HR, ethics, the site director, and that supervisor as well. I mean, when you have two solid employees, and it was, I left, and then a week later, another fellow employee, a female, left. So it's not just, now it wasn't just a dude, a male, just kind of complain about, his female boss, whatever. Because I don't care. I've worked for both male, female commanding officers. I mean, they've been great. That wasn't the issue. It was my treatment, as well as the bad situation. A week later, this person that left, I mean, she was a solid safety professional. I mean, and this girl could have been. I mean, I was trying to recruit her into the Marine Corps. So I'm like, you need to be leading Marines. You need to be out there making stuff. And as a matter of her fiance has been on the show. He's a police officer and a prior active duty Marine as well. I mean, this chick was. I mean, she could do 20 pull-ups. That's how core this young lady is. So she left the following week too. So I mean, that was solid proof right there. And I wrote this 3-page letter, basically, in a very tactful manner, telling this individual that, hey, you're not a leader. You're just, you just right now somebody, that's, sitting on this chair, breathing air and wasting time. So, but don't be afraid to, uh, uh, advocate for yourself. And regardless of who they are, don't have them think, because you were a friggin' badass in the military, you led people, you were if you were in combat, I mean, you did shit, you send rounds down range, and these people are, they think that just because we give them the respect, on the chair that they sit, because that's what we do. People think that, oh, they see that for weakness, when when they don't know that you were a bad motherfucker in the service. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's a good place to stop as well. I'm just kind of wrapping up the show. So stay strong, stay informed, and most importantly, stay true to your worth. And hey, look, if you've been ruminating about things things from the past, maybe your shitty job situation is just kind of putting you in that dark hole, reach out to the show, reach out to us right here, and let us talk to you. Let me talk to you off of that ledge. And by the way, if you're looking for a job and if you're looking to do something that you can do from anywhere in the world, I'm here with my daughter. You want to have your own job, your own platform, shit, reach out to me. I mean, we're hiring, we're always looking for amazing people that want to work remotely. And or if you just want to do some part-time where you can make an extra $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, well, shit, here's the opportunity for you. But don't go in that dark place, man. Hit me up, let me talk to you. So with that being said, I think this is a pretty good place to stop, everybody. Well, what do you think? So put your comments on the show. Let me know, and hey, hit me up if you want, if you want to do something from anywhere in the world. I mean, I got you. All right. So with that being said, everybody, I'm gonna go ahead and sign off. Aistamas, Daisuki. Here we go. We'll see you next week, everybody. Take care.